Hello and good evening. It's Tuesday, the 17th of June, and it's time for Technique Tuesday in the Sew with Trisha group. So let me just have a look. As you can see, you cannot see me. I've done this so that I don't have to turn everything around and see what the state of my messy room is. So let's have a see. In front of you, you can see the technique that I am going to use with this lovely hexagon bowl. And I thought it was just an ideal project for working on in the summer because there is a little bit of hand sewing, or it can be all hand sewn. I'm actually going to be making a slightly smaller version, but you can make it with whatever size hexagon you like. So let's see, there's Joanne. Hello Joanne, good evening to you. And there's Amanda. Hello Amanda. And Kim and Patricia and Jane and Maria. Lovely to see you all. It's a little bit too hot for me, I must admit. I'm not that keen on extremely warm weather, but mustn't complain, and I'm not complaining. At least it's not raining. Saying that, we do need the rain. Hello Jen, good evening to you. It is, I've got both doors open, but it's still very warm. Hello Marion, and hello Vanessa, and hello Caroline. By the way, Caroline, my mum saw your raggy quilt and thought it was beautiful, and she asked me to pass that on to you. Hello Yvonne, hello Sue, hello Leslie. Yes, I have been getting too hot today. That's why I have been getting up at 5 and 6 in the morning and doing the bulk of my work between then and 8 o'clock. And it means that I don't have to rush about and feel hot in here, which is good. A little bit too early, but that's what I've been doing. And then I fall asleep in the evening. You know how it is. Hello Sue, hello Susan, hello Susan. That's Susan P and Susan P. Hello Leslie, hello Liz, hello Kathleen, hello Beverly. Yes, warm and sunny. Best place to be, by the sea, better I'm sure. Carol prefers the cooler weather too. Yes, I'm glad somebody else is on my side. Hello Vanessa, hope you're improving. Hello Sandra, hello Pippa. Lovely and cool on Shetland. Oh yes, having a holiday, how nice. I wouldn't mind being there, or in the Outer Hebrides, anywhere. Don't think that was you, was it Carol? Oh, was it Carol? Or did you ask about how you would finish it? Oh, whoever it was, they thought it was lovely. I know Jack did one, which was also lovely. That's me then, Caroline. Sorry about that. Hello, Jane. Yes. Oh, good. Have a chat with us. You can't see me, I'm afraid, at the minute. I'll probably turn it round eventually, but not at the minute. I thought we'll do what we need to do because it's a nice little relaxing project, should you want to make one. Oh, Vanessa, it was you. Sorry. Yes, my mum thought it was lovely. And then Virginia had put a raggy bag on as well. Absolutely fantastic. I'm so proud of you all. It's lovely. Yes, exactly, Jane. We, as Caroline says, I'm sure we were all thinking of you today. Hello, Jack. Lovely to see you this evening. Yes, that was lovely. Oh, bless you, Jane. Oh, I've had you in my thoughts all the time. But at least when today is over, as you say, you can move forward. And, you know how it is. Anyhow, let's see. Yes, we've got a few people here today. Hello, Sue. It's all the Susans tonight. Which is strange how Facebook makes everything all come up at the same time. So, I don't know if you recall, I think I put a rerun of a YouTube video actually the other day when it was the Hexagon pincushion holder like this. Now, it's a very similar technique. This one is a lot firmer purely because we've stuffed it, and I have got, what have I got in here? Pelmet Violin, and well, I think we used Hexiform actually, but you could use any stabilizer, stiffener to go on the Hexagon fabrics here. So it's similar, but not the same. As you can see, I've got my pin. I keep my keys in here actually. It's just something nice. I like to try and use everything I make. Because otherwise they just sit there, no, that's a lie. I like to use some of the things I make because otherwise it's totally wasted. Hello Linda. I enjoyed making it actually. I don't know, well I wouldn't need to make another one I don't think, but we have a very similar technique. It's just that the hexagons have borders, and I know we have done anything like a holder, and you'll find the PDFs are in the files, and you've got the big hexagons in there. Hello Pauline, hello Heather, and hello Mary. Oh, you've got up at 6 to go to the gym? Oh, Mary, to do your 10-mile bike ride before it gets too warm. Yes, so that's exactly what I do. Not the going to the gym, but getting up at that time so that the work I have to do is done in the cooler part of the day. So what could you get in this? Well, you could get all sorts of things. I mean, I've got my binding clips. You could put so much in there. You could store reels of thread. You could put sweets in there. I think sweets is always a good idea. Hello Marilyn. Sunny North Lincolnshire. It's been gorgeous today. It has been fairly gorgeous here, but getting a little too warm for me. And it's supposed to be, I hear, even warmer tomorrow. Oh my goodness. Hello Carolyn. You're just enjoying an ice cream. Oh, how lovely. Yes, I could be doing, perhaps I'll have some ice cream tonight. Have I told you my favourite is Haagen-Dazs salted caramel. Lindor chocolates. I've got a few left, Jane. Just a few, not too many. I ration myself to 2 a day, so that's not too bad, is it? But they are absolutely delicious. Yes, I just plonk them in there, and they're sort of hidden because I don't have them sticking out the top. They just sit in the bottom. Hello, Juliet. Oh, have you? I wonder who's done. I haven't put this one. I haven't put this one on there. No. I mean, yeah, there's sometimes coincidences, and other times, well, you can guess. We haven't had much of that of late, actually. I think because I do most of the lives in So With Trisha Group, not everybody sees everything we do. Hello, Virginia. I was just saying about your raggy bag. Looks lovely. Hello, Susan. And Virginia likes the bowl. Okay, so it's quite a large. It's on the large side. And what I'll say is you could do it all totally by hand. Now, what I started off thinking I would do was to do it all by hand, but then it's like, oh, I need to do it just a little bit quicker. So if you can see here on my base one, I've actually, let's see if I do closer, I've actually hand stitched the binding bit, the part that I'm calling the binding. I've just done a long running stitch around here. Now, I thought that would be good for either using cotton brode thread, you know, the thicker ones, or the Orifil floss. I think it would look really lovely. And the other thing you could do is stitch inside here as an echo quilting as well. So I did the one, and I thought, Trisha needs to do machine stitching as well. So that's what I've done for the majority of it, so that it got made quicker. So that is what I'm going to show you, how to make tonight. So how do we start? Now I've done a few to start off with because it is repetitive, but I have left 2 here. Now let's have a look. Let's see who else is here today. Oh, air conditioning, Jack. How wonderful. Oh, let's have a look. Hello, Elaine. Oh, well, Juliet, if you've just seen it on Insta and you'd love to know how to make one, here we are. You're in the right place. Hello, Jan. Great day shopping with friends. Oh, that's lovely to be with friends. Shopping, I'm not that keen on these days. Hello, Sonia. I hope we've all had a good day. Oh, you made, yes, oh, that could be you, made a ragu method, Vanessa. Yes. And yes, Virginia, you could do this when you're away. So what have we done? So this is a small version, the hexagon ruler for this one. I did actually use the hexagon ruler to make up the templates. And what I did on the big version of the hexagon bowl, I used this size for my fabric. So I've called these the focal fabrics and the wadding. And then this part here, because it is actually the lining as well, I made my hexagon an inch larger all the way around. So you will see, I'll show you my template here. So you could do exactly the same if you've got a hexagon ruler. So that was my hexagon template, which, as I say, I drew around. And then I just put a ruler on the top to draw 1 inch wider. So an inch on every side to give me the bigger template. And then I just cut my large hexagons from the paper template. And as I say, that is on a PDF. It's either template 1 or 2. Good evening, Jennifer. So that is how we made it. So as I say, for the smaller one, which I'm going to show you tonight, I used the main one here, or the biggest one, was my ruler. And then the smaller one, because that is cut at 5.5, the smaller one I used here, let me just show you up there, which was the 3.5. So I thought, I was going to, and then I thought, no, I won't, but I am going to show you. Let me have a look at, I'm sure I had, oh no, I did it with a piece of paper, didn't I? For cutting my small template, all I did was cut a 3.5 inch width of fabric. So let me just show you here. Oh, I'll do it on paper, which is very, very naughty because I'm going to use a rotary cutter. Here we are. So here's quite a blunted rotary cutter that I have got here. So what I've done, let me get my cutting mat here. Okay, and then you'll be able to see it much better. So here is my 3.5. So imagine this piece of paper is a strip of fabric. So as the template says, you cut 3.5 inches. So the solid line is the cut line. So you can see that can go onto my paper. And actually what we'll do, we'll start as if this was a strip. So imagine there's a whole strip of fabric along here. So I'm going to line up the 3.5 inch line on both edges. So along here and along there. And then I'm going to cut this part here. So if I just cut that part off, so imagine this is fabric. There we are. So then I'm going to turn my fabric around and I'm going to line up the 3.5 inch line here with the edge that I've just cut, along with that solid line that is the 3.5, hold it down and trim that edge there. And you just carry along your fabric doing similarly. And there I have my 3.5 inch hexagon, which is the one that I have used, as you can see here, for my focal fabric and my wadding. So that is how you use one of these hexagon rulers, and you can go anything up to 5.5, but I wanted the inch difference, so you can see from there to the outer edge, 3.5 is 1 inch. Okay, so that is how we do our cutting of our hexagons with a hexagon ruler. Obviously, using dies with a die cutting machine is even easier, but it's making sure that you've got the right size hexagons which are 1 inch bigger than the other. But there we go. That's how it is. So, let me just see. Oh, there's Jill. Hello. You've been on an 8-hour river cruise. How lovely. There'll be a nice bit of breeze there. Yep, that's right. Let's just have a look. Okay. No, that's right. Okay. Who else is there? Nice picnic and a bottle of wine. Hello, Lynn. You're here. Ta-da! That's right. So nice and easy, because I think sometimes you look at a template or a ruler with a shape, and you just feel that it's the only way you can use it with that actual size, but there's a few sizes on there to use. So having cut, you will need 7 of each. So you need 7 of the bigger one. So this is going to be your lining and your binding. And then you're going to need 7 of your outer fabrics. Now I had 3 from the Lighthouse range, because they all go beautifully together. So I'm going to have a small one and a larger one. And then also 7 pieces of wadding. Now in the bigger one, I used fusible H640, because I've got a bit sitting there, and I thought, which is why it's nice and soft. This one I've used Thermolam. So as I'm using Thermolam, what I have already done, because obviously I can't fuse it, I have used some of my 505 glue stick, and I just put a little bit onto the wadding and popped my hexagon on top, just to hold it nice and firmly. So I've got 2 that I'm going to show you. So all we need to do is turn our larger hexagon wrong side facing up, and we're going to place the hexagon centrally, the smaller one, onto our bigger hexagon. So I am just eyeballing that all the way around. If you want to get a ruler and measure your inch to each side, so that you know we've got that nice and central, I think that's about right. But as I say, I'm just eyeballing it. Now I'm not actually sticking, I haven't put glue onto the base of the wadding so that this is just sitting on there, but that is good enough. So the first thing we've got to do, either with a hot iron or a small iron like a prim iron, or even a clover mini iron would be very good, because what we're going to do is fold the raw edge into the edge of our small hexagon. And I, for ease, am just using a roller. Now I'm going to get my mat back on, actually, because it holds a lot nicer. There we are. So roll up that edge, and it's as if I've used an iron. Swivel it round, and then fold the next edge up to that edge of the smaller hexagon, and open it out. And you don't need to go all the way across there, but if you do, it doesn't matter. But it's mainly the long part in the middle, you just want that to have a nice crease on all edges. Okay, so there we are. Let's have a look. You have to put your glue stitch in the, yes. Oh yes, I bet it, oh, I'm just putting that in there. I bet it got a bit melty. I know I use eye pencils, as in like eye makeup, and they get very soft and they actually shrink back into the pencil, which is not good actually. Okay, so now that I've done that, I like binding clips here. So what I'm going to do, take my first edge here. That's it, let's put those out of the way. So I've got my first edge and I'm going to fold it up onto the hexagon. And then I'm going to get a binding clip and just put that in the middle. Swivel around, and then this edge, which is open now, I just like to run my nail along that edge, and I'm opening the following edge so that although I've got it creased there, I've opened that up, and then I'm going to refold it like that and fold it up, and what we create is a lovely mitre just there. So another clip on that side, fold that down, nail press, fold it back up to the edge and fold that over. Now it doesn't matter if the mitre isn't perfect at the minute, because when we come to stitch we can deal with that then. So I just nail pressed that part just there, then refold back to the edge of the center hexagon and fold it over. And you can use pins here, but I find clips for this are very easy to use. And fold that over and over again. Okay, and then on the last one I'm just going to nail. So I've got two edges that are coming in here, and obviously the mitre is going to be the opposite way, but do you know what? I really don't mind that. It's not a big deal. So I've got both coming in, fold them back, and then fold that up onto our smaller hexagon. So I've got two mitres, one at each side. So there is our hexagon ready for stitching. So I'll put that one out of the way, and we'll just do, as a little refresher, the next one. I think I've already placed that. Let's just have a look. So you can have a look and roughly gauge that it is central. That's just the tiniest bit, that's it. Now, if you see here, I've got a little a little snip into the edge, but this doesn't matter because I'm going to fold it and it's going to go on the inside. So we're going to do the same thing again, fold it over to the edge, roller that across and turn around. Fold it to the edge, just hold that with my fingers and roll that along. And you know, you probably, perhaps you've got a patio table outdoors, and you could do that on the table, or you could do this little bit inside and take the rest of it out for doing your stitching, if you're going to hand sew it all. So I will just, once we've done this bit, I'll give you a few ideas of how you can stitch them, because it can all totally be by hand. So you love your roller, use it more than yes, indeed. There we are. So I'm just going to do this again. What size are the hexagons? Well, these ones I used my ruler. So I use that ruler as my back one, the one that we're folding at the minute, and then I cut a 3.5 inch one here, which the sides of it, although it calls it 3.5 inch, it's got 2 inch sides, so it's a 2 inch sided hexagon. But the outer one, the bigger one, is actually an inch bigger on all sides, hence using the 5.5 followed by the 3.5 smaller. So I've just folded that one side, creased that little bit there, but you could do it with any size hexagon you like, as long as one of them is an inch bigger on all sides, and it will still work. Now you could do it with less. So this is an inch from the edge to the edge here. If you had it at 1/2 inch, because when you fold it, it halves that distance, it just means you have a very narrow edge, and it's not quite as easy to fold over when you've got wadding in the center. But you could try that, just doing it 1/2 inch bigger, and you'll just get a very narrow, like that, which looks nice, but not as easy to work with. Okay. Oh, did somebody ask what glue stick I was using? Yeah, the 505 glue stick. It's like a mini spray, a mini can of spray, but it's so good. It goes on blue and it dries clear, because I could see that little bit that I put on for a minute and then it's gone. Okay, so there is another side, and we just round to the last side. So just, as I say, just nail press that little bit there, fold those both in, and then fold them over onto the top of the smaller hexagon. And because you've got wadding in there, it's so easy to feel the edge. If they are a little bit, these edges, if they're sometimes just a tiny bit longer one than the other, you can actually make it fit, because all of mine didn't go exactly to plan. But here we go. So what we're going to do now, let's just see if that, there we go. I'm just going to stitch around the edge. So as I was saying, you could now, if you wanted to, just hand stitch all the way around this edge, just an over sewing, or like you would bind a quilt, you could stitch it like that. So there's a tiny little stitch, and then you go into the wadding and up through the binding to make another little stitch. Or you could do like the base, you could do a running stitch all the way round. If you're going to use the machine, you could do a decorative stitch. You could even do cross stitches by hand over the edge there. But for speed, at this part, I'm going to, let's have a look here. Well, I think I'm going to have to put my knee lift in. I took it out because we are pivoting. So all I'm going to do, I've got about, you can have whatever length stitch you like, but I've got a 2.5, just the normal default setting of when you turn your machine on, stitch length. I think it was 1/2 inch when we did the hexagon swap. I don't think I've actually done a half. It's 1/2 inch once you've folded it. Because yes, we did do a hexagon swap, didn't we? I forgot about that. So I've just stitched along that edge. Once I've got to the mitre, I'm just going to turn that, take off the binding clip, and I'm just stitching close to that edge. Now this is where the seam ripper comes in well as well. Use it like a stiletto, and as soon as the needle goes into that next edge, there we go, we can carry on stitching. So we'll go to that next point, one more, take off the clip, pivot round, and stitch there. And this is where I'm just making the miters go into the right place, and then turn that around up to where I started, and then I'll pivot into that first section and trim that off so it goes over the first two, and so there we are. So it's as simple as that. Now if you want to leave it at that, it's a coaster, nice and easy. Hello Joanna. Nice and easy coaster. So let's just do one more. Let's pop that under the machine. So I'm starting at the mitre so that it's holding that previous one down. And I'm just going to stitch along, and so you can see how quick it is. Take that off, turn it around, and wait till that last stitch goes into the mitered corner, and you can see that's holding it down really, really nicely. And this one's going the other way, so I'm just going to use my seam ripper to hold that down. Oops, we don't want it to, there we are, we don't want it to pucker under there really. But as I say, it all gets hidden. There we are, one more to go in there, round again, up to the next one, take that clip off, one more. I know I love doing simple. Actually, I've got another little, next week, it's the quick project, and I've got a lovely little bag. I have all my measurements down of what I'm going to do it, but I haven't made it yet, and I'm excited about making it. So, quick and easy. These would make lovely little presents, actually, and if you wanted to then fill it with toiletries, it would be really nice, or Lindor chocolates, of course. So I've got 2 of those. I can put those back in my little holder there. Okay, so what do we do with them now? So as I said, I have started, so this is what we would do. So I have done a little bit of stitching so that I'm ready, and actually threaded a needle because I am awful at threading needles. Okay, so what we need to do is lay them out in order. You've got one central one, okay, one central one there, and then you lay out all of your hexagons all the way around the edge. And I've actually started stitching all the way around these, so I have oversewn. I have just whip stitched over and over and over. Definitely the chocolate every time, I know. Okay, so having done those, because I want to show you how to get the bowl shape. So I've got my thread, and I've just got normal thread that's doubled. And when we start, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch this edge to that edge, and I'm actually doing the wrong sides together because I don't mind that my stitching shows on the outside. It's a handmade project with hand sewing, so I quite like the naivety of this. Yes, Christmas presents, yep, okay. So what I do first of all, so this is as if I was starting, I've got a knot in my thread, and I'm going to stitch here, okay, and where this mitre is, whoops, where this mitre is, it's open, so I'm going to take my thread or my needle up through there so that the knot is hidden. Can't see that knot now, and from that part I'm just going to double stitch over here, so I'm going to stitch back from there. And it doesn't matter that there is, let's just, oops, I got that all wrong, that this is in the way. It doesn't matter going twice over an area because it just makes it more robust. So I'm just going to stitch along there, and then I'm going to start. So now what I can do is either stitch there as well, or I've gone into this bit. I haven't gone through to the other side, so just along that border, and just make sure that lines up, and then I'm just over stitching, so I'm just taking a little bit from each edge and stitching like this. So can you imagine sitting in the garden with a glass of wine, stitching this? Yeah, I like to use pretty fabrics. I use the peachy options from the Lighthouse range. I will bring it to you in a Thrifty Thursday sale again soon, but it won't be this week. Probably won't be the next week. I might do it the week after because I've still got some left. Wait a couple of stitches there just to make that nice and solid. So when that one comes up, we will take in our next one, and that one is going to go just here. So we just line that up, line that corner up as well, and just carry on stitching. So I wouldn't have your thread too long. I would have it fairly long, but it is doubled, as I said. So again, you can do a couple of stitches just there. And yeah, ladder stitch would work. Ladder stitch would definitely work. But I want it to be nice and robust along these edges. I mean, you could turn it, you could stitch wrong sides together so that there's less showing. But as I say, I don't mind seeing the stitches on here. I don't mind it at all. The other thing you could do, if you wanted to do by machine, you could actually zigzag around this section. So you could use a zigzag stitch to stitch all these 6 hexagons around the base hexagon, but you would still need to hand sew for the sides, which I'm going to move on to now. So the thread does twist a little bit, and what I don't want it to do is break. Okay, so once I've got round to the very first one, I'm actually going to stitch into that corner as well, just to make that nice and solid. Okay, so we've got all of our base ones on now. So with your thread still intact, what we can do is fold. So this one is, these edges are together. So let's fold these together and line that up. And we'll do exactly the same thing here. I'm just wondering if you can see that very well. Okay. So yes, ladder stitch would work. No problem with that at all. You could do some fancy stitch work if you wanted to put, say, a thread along this line, a thicker thread, and then stitch over the top of it like couching would be. So all I'm doing, as I say, I'm going up 2 sides which are adjacent to each other. And when we get to that corner, there we go, let's just unravel that just a little bit. So we're coming up to this corner. Now normally, if you're sewing patchwork, you wouldn't go any further than this particular edge. So I've got to that corner, but with this we do. So we've gone up 1, we need to go up the next edge. So it's gone 1, and then the next ones that line up. You can't pick the wrong edge because nothing else lines up at this point. So we will just keep stitching along here and stitching like this. And as you can see, it doesn't take that long. It does look girly, doesn't it? Yes, in a little girl's bedroom, wouldn't it look lovely? Just sitting on a dressing table. Very, very nice. Okay, so I must have had just the right amount of thread on here because we are exactly where we want to be. So once we get to this top corner here, right, I'll do a stitch over the top, and then I put my needle through the loop and pull. Make sure my thread doesn't break, that would just be the worst. And then just do one more, pull the thread through, and oh, that's it, the thread's decided to, that's why you don't want it too long, because it is bound to break. So having got to the end, I don't just cut off at the knot. I'm going to put my needle into this border here, and I'll come up sort of an inch or so along. Now what you can see, it hasn't gone through to the inside. So just like we do with our binding, pull that through, pull it a little bit tighter, and then clip off with your scissors, and that has now disappeared. So it does look a little bit strange. What we've got, it looks like a Lady Gaga bra, doesn't it? Can you see how that is out, pointing out? And my fingers are getting really sticky with this heat. So let's just get a bit more thread and see if I can thread. Oh, threaded first time. That is unusual. So, and again, I'm just going to put a knot in the end. So I just wrap it around my finger and pull it down. And again, I'm going to start at the bottom. So here is my next edges. I'm going to join that to that. Oh, Madonna, not Lady Gaga yet, but Madonna. Oh, I always get it wrong, don't I? And I'm going to join those two. So again, starting here, I've got an open mitre. So I'm going to go up through there, pull that knot out of the way, and then again, line that edge up, and I can start stitching. So I am going to go down first of all, and then we'll go back up. So I was only sort of a couple of stitches away. So, and I'm not going to go up every side because I'm sure even now you get the gist of it. So, and it's really nice and easy going through these sides here. I was actually thinking what you could do, if you want it to be more rigid, you could actually put fusible fleece for slightly more rigid outer edges, or you could strawberry picking. Oh my goodness, Sue, how nice. Yeah, what you could use is Decaville Light, because there's no turning it through. It's purely stitching around the edges, and I think that would work really, really well. So I've done that one from the base, and now I'm going up the second side here. So pop that through. Yeah, do you know, I enjoy a bit of hand sewing. It was 5 o'clock in the morning. I was hand sewing that by 6 because I wanted to get it finished. And I mean, the light was perfect as well. Rather than doing it of an evening, it's not, the light isn't as good as during the daytime. Okay, so we're now getting towards the top of the next side. And I'm talking away, and the time just goes. I mean, we've only got 6 to join, haven't we? And I've done 2 in that very short space of time. I know I'd already gone round the bottom edge for most of them. So there we are at the top again. So a couple of stitches there, and a knot at the top. Whoops. Oh. Now what I'd say, if you're doubling the thread like I have, what I would do is start with a new thread again. So again, I'm going to go into here, into my binding, and come up a little distance from it, give that a little pull, and snip it off, and then that's going to go through to the other side. So Madonna, there you are, Madonna, is starting to form that shape, isn't it? So I'm going to rethread another needle. I'll do one more side. So I'm not going to cut my thread as long this time because I didn't need that. And the other reason why I say about using a cotton brode thread or the Orifil floss, I just couldn't lay my hands on any quickly. So there is my thread doubled up. So next two, as I say, you can't go wrong with matching the sides because they are there. Okay, so hello Sharon, hello Nikki. Right, so I've just gone into that bound edge so you won't see any knots at all, and I've just gone back down to the bottom. It's only because of where the stitching came out, or where the needle came out when I hid the knot. But as I say, do you know, Vanessa, your name keeps coming up here. It tells me Vanessa Patrice Schomburg is watching, and it's got it there 8 times. I don't know if anybody else sees that, but do you know what? I know you're watching. I don't need to be reminded 8 times. And it's said it before. Oh, there's another one as well. So just in case you didn't know, Vanessa is watching. Okay, so we're coming up to that first. Oh, it says Sue Chadwick is watching now. Okay, so I've got to my point, and then I'm just going to turn that, and my next 2 sides are ready. So that has just carry on stitching. So just make sure you grab both. Oh, you can see that too, Joanne. Yes. And lucky me, it is lucky me, Vanessa. So this, I know there are some of you, I don't know if Mary's watching tonight. Mary does not like hand stitching, so we always find a way. Now, sewing up the sides of a hexagon like this, when we've got 2 edges, you could possibly give it a go using a sewing machine and using a zigzag stitch, but the very last 2 edges, I think you'll find it really difficult to make that work. But if anybody wants to prove me wrong, that would be absolutely fine. Okay, so I've done my knot there. I think this time I'll go down into that binding there, and I'll come up just there, give it a pull, give it that little extra pull, and clip it off close to. Don't think there's enough thread on there. So there we are. It's coming. It's forming a shape, isn't it? There we are. And you see how that is a smaller version. 1, 2, yes, I've got 1, 2, 3. Now I think that was just a little bit too short. I'm just trying to pull my thread out now. Okay. So shall we just do one more? Anybody got any questions while I am stitching this up? There we go. I'll just cut my thread. Let's see, it won't go through this time, I know. Oh, there we are. Straight through. Perfect. Right, so while I just stitch this bit, on Thursday, what I'm going to show you all the colourways in the Storm at Sea quilt workshop that we're going to be doing. So this is one of my paid sew-alongs. It is separate from the Sew with Trisha group, but those in the Sew with Trisha group will always have a discount on the price, whether it be with a kit or that you don't have an advantage if you wanted to do it. Yes, let's have a look. You do love a bit of hand stitching, Jenny. That is lovely. Alison, did I say that Decaville Light? You can. And yes, it will make it more rigid, but it won't be a problem. When I do projects using Decaville Light, it's the turning the project through. You know, if you're doing a lining and you have to turn, obviously Decaville Light is fusible, And when you come to turning it through a small gap, it's not always the easiest to do. Whereas with this, if I was using Decaville Light, I would probably still put wadding in there as well, because you're only, you're not turning it through, you're just turning fabric over the top. Okay, so I'm just coming up the second side here. The Hexagon ruler should be on the website. Let me have a look, because I've got some behind me. Let me just see if I just pop that there a minute. They are definitely right behind me. 1, 2, 3. I've got 3. Whoops, knock the camera. I've got 3 of the Hexagon rulers. I will check that they are on the website. There we go. I'll check they're on the website. If you have a look, it may be that I haven't updated it, but I have got 3 if anybody would like a Hexagon ruler. And what was the other question? What is the better thread to? Yes. So this actually that I'm using is moon thread because it's polyester. What I find, I love my Orifil for machine stitching. I don't mind it for hand stitching, but as you say, being a cotton thread, it is more likely to actually snap, and especially when you're over stitching like I'm doing now, because the thread is going through the fibres so many times, and this one is just about works getting along these 2 seams, but I'm sure it would snap. If I did another seam with this same piece of thread, I'm sure it would snap. So the best ones I would use are a little bit thicker, so I'd use Cotton Brode or the Orifil floss. I'm just finishing that one off there, pulling it through like so. Okay, so I think what I'll do, I'll leave it at those 4 sides. I mean, that next one is just going to come like so. Let's just see. See if I could just get a little pin in here just to hold that together like so. And this one also, just hold that with a pin as if it were stitched there, and then I'll put the camera up just to finish off so you can see. There we are. You can see really what it's like. Yes, the Orifil floss is the thickest. I think it is a 12 weight. So with threads, the smaller the number, the thicker the thread. Okay, let me just pop this out. Turn it round. So there is our small one, oops, that we've made. And there is our, wow, that looks huge, doesn't it? So we could actually, well, yes. Can you see? One on top of the other. Okay. So, let's see here. There we go. I hope you can't see. Oh, there's Janet. Hello. Whoops. There we go. We are here. Sorry about that. I washed my hair earlier and, just, goodness. I've scrolled all the comments all the way back to the beginning. Okay, okay. So pretty, so pretty. Oh, what was that? That's the constant snapping when I was saying at the back all those memory bears. Oh, right, yes, yes. Okay. So, okay. So, just to show you there, so there is, does look very similar. Okay, so that looks very similar to, whoops, I've wedged my phone into, So there is one we did, which is stuffed. So there's stuffing in here, whereas this we've got the same sort of shape, like so, and then the bigger one is like that. They do look pretty, don't they? So let's just hold that one there and that one there. So you've got two sizes there, and it was really, really nice and easy to work with. Now what I'll say, obviously you know this is Adidas Sitar's fabric Lighthouse range, but the little heart fabric on the inside, that was from one of her, I think it was the Tulip range. So it just shows you how her different range of fabrics still all work together, because even the Beach House and the Lighthouse work together. And this is one of that had pinker versions and greens in it. But that little heart fabric works so well with the ones in her latest range. And that's probably from about 2 years back. So she does think about everybody, not using all their fabric up at the same time, and therefore still having it work with newer ranges that come out. What was the difference in size? So the difference in size, the bigger one, this one here, had... So here is the template that I've given you, and the 5-inch. So this is the big template, and the ruler is the inside one. So that's where the ruler fits. The bigger template is an inch bigger here all the way round, okay? So that's the bigger one. Whereas the smaller one here, it's the inside, the lining fabrics are this size, and then where's my little hexagon gone? Here we are. So this one goes just there. So the outer fabric, is the ruler, the size of the ruler, and the wadding and the focal fabrics are this small white one on the top. So that's the difference inside. This was 3.5 inches from the ruler, and is a 2-inch hexagon. So the sides, a hexagon is usually measured by the length of its sides. So I would call this a 2-inch hexagon. And the bigger lining one is the size, which was 5.5 inch, they called it. And that's about 3-inch side, I think. Let me just have a look. Oh, it's just over. That's about 3.25 inches along there. So that is the difference in sizes. Okay. So, yes, it will because, yeah, I did say that earlier. Orifil will snap quicker than a polyester thread, purely because it's 100% cotton. But it stitches beautifully, as you know. You could always double it up, as I was doing there, but it's the number of times that the thread is going through the fibres, a little bit like when you're using metallic thread, going a little bit slower and a longer stitch, it won't shed and snap so much. And the reason it snaps is because of the amount of times it's going through fibres in your fabrics. And so the same with hand sewing with cotton. Do I have a bowl? Oh, can have a bowl then, Sue. Oh, thank you, Juliet. It is a slow stitch project. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you could use plainer fabrics, and you could applique something on each side if you wanted to. You could stitch, you could put decorative stitches on the machine onto each of the hexagons. So much you could do. So let's see what you can show me in the Sew Trisha Sews group of what your take is on that. Thank you, Beverly. And thank you, Jack. Thank you, Pippa. You must have a go. You like the bigger one. Enjoyed making the stuff one a while back. Yes, Carolyn. Thank you, Jan. Thank you, Nettie. Karen, Sandra, lovely, and Paula and Joanna. Okay, time for my dinner now. I have got cottage pie. Hot weather, cottage pie, well, it's food, isn't it? And I'm sure it'll be delicious. Thank you, Martin. So I'm going to love you and leave you now. Thursday, as I say, I'm going to show you. No, don't look. Oh, no, you can't really see. Storm at Sea behind me is the blue version, but I've got some more to show you, and I will let you see them, and I'll tell you what the cost is and how you can join. Okay, so take care of yourselves, and I will see you on Thursday. Bye for now.